They told you it was over, my child. Their words, like stones, paved a path to a barren place they called your future. They looked upon the landscape of your heart, shattered and scorched, and with a sigh, a knowing glance, they declared the season of your fruitfulness had passed. A wasteland, some whispered. Nothing can grow there now. Others, perhaps with a touch of pity that felt more like a final judgment, spoke of closure, of moving on from what was so clearly dead. They saw the ashes, the broken stems, the parched earth, and their pronouncements echoed the desolation you felt within. The silence that followed their verdicts was a heavy shroud, a confirmation of the emptiness that had become your unwelcome companion. You walked through the ruins of what you had so carefully built, so tenderly nurtured. Each memory a shard of glass beneath your feet, each dream a wisp of smoke vanishing into an unforgiving sky. The vibrant colors you once painted your world with had faded to monochrome, a stark palette of grief and disillusionment. And in that desolate quiet, their voices became your own, the whispers of doubt, the insidious tendrils of despair, began to take root in the very soil they had declared barren. They must be right, a voice inside you conceded. This garden is truly dead. The well has run dry. The sun will only bake this already cracked earth. You felt the weight of their conclusions, the finality of their gaze, and a part of you began to surrender to the narrative of irreversible loss. But my child, while they saw an ending, I saw a field resting. While they saw irreversible desolation, I saw the deep, rich darkness that precedes the dawn. While they spoke of ashes, I saw fertile ground awaiting a specific time touch. My touch. Their eyes perceived only the surface, the immediate aftermath of the fire, the visible signs of the storm. But mine, my beloved, mine are the eyes that see beyond the veil of the temporary, that pierce the illusion of finality. I see the intricate root systems hidden deep beneath the scarred earth, roots that even the fiercest blaze could not entirely destroy. I see the resilient seeds coated in the dust of what was, holding within them the blueprint of what is to come, a future they could not fathom, a bloom they could not imagine. You felt the sting of abandonment, did you not? As if in your deepest hour of need, my presence had withdrawn. My voice had fallen silent. You searched for me in the familiar places, in the ways I had revealed myself before, and when you found only the echo of your own sorrow, you wondered if I, too, had turned away. This was their most potent lie, the one that threatened to extinguish the last ember of your hope, that you were alone, that the barrenness was a sign of my displeasure, or, worse, my absence. Oh, my child, if only you could have seen through my eyes during those moments, while you wept. I was collecting your tears, each one a precious jewel, a testament to a love that grieved but did not yield. While you felt the chill of isolation, my warmth was a shield around you, unseen but impenetrable, deflecting darts of despair you were not even aware of. While you surveyed the damage, I was already surveying the potential. The very fire that seemed to consume everything was, in my hands, an instrument of refinement, clearing away what was overgrown, what was not meant for the next season, what was hindering the true, glorious bloom I have always intended for you. They did not understand. How could they? They operate within the confines of what is seen, what is logical to the human mind. They measure by seasons past, by patterns observed in the natural, predictable world. But I am the God of the unexpected resurrection, the master of the impossible bloom. My ways are not their ways. My thoughts are not their thoughts. Where they see a full stop, I write a comma, a pause for breath before a new, more glorious sentence begins. The silence you perceive was not an absence of my voice, but a hushing of the world's noise, so that, in an appointed time, you could hear me more clearly than ever before. It was a sacred stillness, a holy interlude where the profoundest work was being done in the unseen realms. Within the very fabric of your being, think of the greatest tapestries, my child, from the front. They display a breathtaking story, a vibrant interplay of color and design. But turn them over, and you see a chaotic tangle of threads, knots, and seemingly random pathways in your season of desolation. You were seeing the back of the tapestry. You saw the chaos, the apparent disorder, the threads that seemed to lead nowhere. But I was, and am, the weaver, working with meticulous care, with a love that informs every single stitch, every painful experience, every unanswered question. Every moment of darkness was a thread I was weaving into a masterpiece you are only now beginning to glimpse. The garden you thought was dead, my beloved, was merely in a state of profound, divine preparation. The soil needed to be turned, enriched by the very experiences that felt like destruction. Some areas needed to lie fallow, to gather strength. Other areas needed the sharp tines of my plow to break up the compacted earth of old beliefs, of limiting patterns, of unyielded ground. It was not a pleasant process. I know. The breaking is never comfortable. The pruning feels like loss. The waiting feels like an eternity. But I was there, my hands deep in the soil of your soul, tending, preparing, protecting. Those whispers of "it's over." They were the fading echoes of a chapter I had already closed. Those pronouncements of barrenness. They were the limited vocabulary of those who cannot speak the language of faith, the dialect of miracles, while they were busy composing your eulogy. I was composing your anthem. While they were shaking their heads, I was nodding mine, knowing the victory that was already secured, the beauty that was about to unfold. Do you recall the scent of rain after a long drought, the way the parched earth drinks it in? A silent sigh of relief, a promise of revival, my presence, my grace, my love were like that gentle, persistent rain, falling on you even when you felt too numb to notice. I was saturating the roots, awakening the dormant seeds, whispering life into the very places that had been pronounced dead. They saw an ending. I saw a holy pause, a sacred fallowness before the most glorious spring your life has ever known. They saw defeat. I saw the strategic retreat of a warrior gathering strength for the decisive battle, a battle I would fight for you, and in you, and through you. The desolation was but a canvas, my child, upon which I am painting a story of redemption, of resilience, of my unfailing, restorative power. The silence was the quiet before the symphony. The emptiness was the space I was clearing for an abundance you can barely yet conceive. Do not fault them for their limited sight, for their earthbound understanding. They spoke from what they knew. But you, my child, you are connected to the one who knows all, who sees all, who creates all things new. Their words do not define you. Their conclusions do not bind you. Their perception of your garden is not my reality for it. The garden they thought was dead, the very one you mourn, is not only alive, my child, but it is on the cusp of a bloom so vibrant, so fragrant, so uniquely yours, that it will silence every doubting whisper and declare the glory of the gardener who never abandoned his post. The desolation was the prelude. The whispers were the dying breath of the old. Now, listen closely, for a new sound is emerging, the sound of my hand at work, bringing forth life from what they, and even you, believed was gone forever. This is not just survival, my beloved. This is resurrection. This is not just regrowth. This is a divine renaissance, orchestrated by love itself. Indeed, my child, listen, for even as the echoes of their pronouncements faded and the dust of your former structures began to settle, my work, which had never truly ceased, entered a new phase, a deeper dimension. You speak of barren land, of a garden turned to desert. But I tell you, even in the most desolate desert, there are my footprints. I walk where others fear to tread. I see life where they see only endings. And in that very expanse of your perceived emptiness, I was treading softly, purposefully, leaving imprints of grace that the harsh sun of your sorrow could not bake away, that the winds of despair could not erase. You felt the stillness, the crushing silence, and interpreted it as my departure. But it was the stillness of the operating room, my child, where the divine surgeon performs the most intricate work. It was the silence of the artist's studio before dawn, where the masterpiece is conceived in quiet contemplation. My silence was not an absence of communication. It was a different language, spoken in the depths of your spirit, in the subtle shifts of your inner landscape, while you strained to hear the thunder of my voice. As before, I was whispering life into the soil of your being. While you looked for grand signs in the heavens, I was tending to the smallest, most vital details within you. Think of a farmer, my beloved, preparing a field that has long lain fallow or has been ravaged by storm. He does not simply scatter seed upon unprepared ground. No, that would be foolish, wasteful. First, there's the arduous task of clearing. And so, I walk with you through the debris, together. Though you are often unaware of my proximity, we survey the extent of what needed to be removed. Those sharp stones of bitterness. I showed you how they bruise your soul, how they would prevent tender roots from taking hold. Gently, I helped you lift them, one by one, not by forcing your hand, but by illuminating their true nature, their dead weight, until you yourself chose to let them go. And the thorns, my child, the thorny tangles of past hurts, of regrets, of self-condemnation that choked the life from any emerging hope. They had grown thick and menacing, a defensive barrier that also imprisoned you. My light, which you sometimes mistook for a harsh glare exposing your wounds, was in fact the gentle warmth needed to make those thorns brittle, easier to break away. My hands, often working through unexpected encounters, through sudden moments of clarity, even through the painful revisiting of memories, were carefully untangling those snarls. It was not a painless process, for some thorns were deeply embedded in your tender heart. But would a loving gardener leave such harmful growth to fester and steal nourishment from the coming bloom? No, and neither would I. Then there was the weeding. Oh, the persistent weeds of doubt that the enemy, and sometimes your own fearful heart, had sown so diligently. They were cleverly disguised, some looking like wild flowers of self-preservation, others like hardy shrubs of cynical wisdom. They whispered, "Don't hope too much. You'll only be disappointed again." They counseled, "Protect yourself. Trust no one, not even the divine." These weeds, with their insidious roots, sought to poison the very soil I was consecrating for new life. My presence beside you often felt as an inner discomfort with these old, familiar thoughts. Was my way of identifying them, the quiet nudges, the moments of divine dissatisfaction you felt with your own negativity. That was me, kneeling beside you, showing you which was weed and which was destined flower, teaching your hands to discern, to uproot what was false, what was life-denying. This weeding, my child, was crucial, for a garden choked by weeds, however fertile the soil, cannot bring forth its intended glory. And the soil itself, the very essence of your being, your heart, your spirit, it had become compacted in places, hardened by the trampling of disappointment, by the relentless sun of adversity without the relief of nourishing rain. My spirit, like a gentle, persistent shower, began to soften that ground. Sometimes it came as tears you could not explain. Sometimes it came as a wave of unexpected peace in the midst of turmoil. Sometimes it was a flicker of an old dream you thought had died, stirring faintly. This was me, aerating the soil, creating space for roots to breathe, to delve deep in other areas. The soil was depleted, leached of its vital nutrients by seasons of relentless striving, of giving from an empty cup. Here, I was replenishing, enriching in ways you could not see, through moments of enforced rest, through the quiet intake of my word, through the unexpected kindness of a stranger. I was mixing heavenly compost into the earth of your soul, resilience, fortitude, a deeper capacity for love, a renewed hunger for truth. You wondered, perhaps, why the healing was not instantaneous, why the garden did not spring to life overnight after the storm had passed. My child, true healing, deep restoration, is not an event. It is a process, an organic unfolding. The roots must grow strong in the hidden darkness before the visible shoots can break forth. Had I forced a premature bloom, it would have been fragile, unsustainable, easily scorched by the next trial. My delays, which you perceived as denial, were in truth acts of profound love, of divine patience, ensuring that the foundations of your new garden were unshakable. I was working on the unseen infrastructure, the irrigation channels of my grace, the foundational stones of my promises, the deep aquifers of my abiding presence. While they saw barrenness, I saw a sacred space being consecrated. While you felt emptiness, I was filling you with a strength you had not known you possessed. Every moment you chose faith over fear, however small that choice felt, was like a precious seed I gathered. Every prayer whispered from a weary heart, every act of surrender, every refusal to curse the darkness. These were the invisible seeds I was carefully planting in the prepared soil. These were not ordinary seeds. My beloved, these were seeds of destiny, seeds of purpose, seeds infused with my own life, They were planted in the furrows plowed by your pain, watered by your tears, and warmed by the unwavering sun of my love. My footprints were there, in the quiet resolve that kept you putting one foot in front of the other when every fiber of your being screamed for you to give up. My footprints were there, in the unexpected moment of beauty that pierced through your grief. A bird's song, a child's laughter, the kindness in a friend's eyes, reminding you that life, however muted, still held sparks of my light. My footprints were there, in the unsettling dreams that stirred old memories, not to re-traumatize, but to bring them into my light for final healing, for the severing of old soul ties that bound you to the past. I was the silent watcher in your Gethsemane, the unseen companion in your wilderness when you stumbled. My hand was there, not always to prevent the fall, for some falls are necessary to teach us our desperate need for grace, but always to lift you, to dust you off, to speak words of life over your scraped knees and bruised spirit. This is not the end, my child, I whispered into the wind that seemed to carry only your sighs. This is the remaking. This is the recalibration. This is the sacred undoing before the glorious redoing. The barren land you lamented was, in my economy, a field of immense potential. It was a blank canvas upon which I could paint colors more vibrant than before. It was a cleared foundation upon which I could build a structure more resilient, more aligned with my eternal purposes for you. Do not mourn the clearing too deeply, my child. Do not despise the season of hiddenness, for in that secrecy, in that quiet, under the watchful gaze of your gardener, the most vital transformations occur. The world sees nothing. You may have felt nothing but loss, but I was there, my hands covered in the rich soil of your becoming, turning your brokenness into fertile ground, planting stars of hope in the night of your soul. The garden they called dead was, in truth, a seedbed of miracles, and my footprints marked the path of its inevitable, breathtaking bloom. And so, my beloved, the ground was prepared, the precious seeds sown. You stood, perhaps, at the edge of this field of your soul, this garden in the making, and in the raw quiet that followed the intense labor, you began to watch. You watched with a heart filled with a fragile, nascent hope, a hope that dared to whisper my promises back to me. Yet, as days turned into weeks, and weeks, perhaps, into months, or even longer seasons, the surface of the soil may have appeared largely unchanged. The silence, once broken by the sound of my tilling and weeding, returned. But it was a different kind of silence now. It was the silence of anticipation, the quiet hum of unseen processes, the profound stillness of seeds awaiting their appointed dawn. This, my child, is often the hardest part of the journey for my precious ones. The waiting, the period of gestation, the time when the work is entirely hidden, deep beneath the surface, known only to me and to the secret life stirring within the seed. You are creatures of sight, of tangible evidence. You long to see the green shoot, the tender leaf, the promise of color. And when the earth remains dark and seemingly unresponsive, the old whispers can return. Can they not? Perhaps the seeds were faulty. Perhaps the ground is truly cursed. Perhaps even the divine gardener has miscalculated. Or worse, forgotten. Oh, my child, if you could only grasp the vital importance of the sacred incubation. These are not ordinary seeds I have planted within you. These are seeds of eternal verity, seeds of divine purpose, seeds carrying the very DNA of my kingdom. Such seeds cannot be rushed. They require the deep, undisturbed darkness to send their roots down, down, down into the anchoring truth of my being. A shallow rooting, forced by impatient desire for a quick bloom, would result in a plant easily toppled by the first wind, easily scorched by the midday sun. Would you want a fleeting flower, beautiful for a day but gone tomorrow? Or would you desire a mighty tree, whose roots grip the bedrock, offering shade and fruit for generations? The darkness you may have perceived as neglect was, in truth, my tender protection. It was the nurturing womb of my wisdom, shielding those tender beginnings from the harsh glare of premature exposure, from the trampling feet of doubt, from the pecking birds of criticism, both external and internal. In that hiddenness, the vital work of root development was occurring. Imagine a tiny seed. My child, its first act is not to thrust upwards, but downwards. It sends out a delicate feeler, a pioneer root, searching for stability, for nourishment, for the life-giving water that is my spirit. This root must navigate the soil, finding its pathways, anchoring itself firmly before it dares to expend energy on upward growth. The seeds I planted in you during that time of preparation, seeds of unshakable faith, seeds of profound self-worth, based not on your performance, but on your belovedness, seeds of resilience, forged in the fires of adversity, seeds of your unique, God-given purpose. These all required this period of deep, internal rooting. Your faith needed to learn to draw sustenance not from visible miracles alone, but from the steadfastness of my character, from the unwavering truth of my word, even when circumstances scream the contrary. Your sense of worth needed to anchor itself beyond the shifting sands of human approval, rooting deeply in the immutable soil of my unconditional love for you. Your resilience needed to weave a complex network of spiritual sinew, unseen but incredibly strong, capable of bending without breaking in future storms. And your purpose, oh, your glorious purpose, needed to unfurl its foundational design in the secret place, aligning itself with my grand blueprint for your life before it could manifest in the world. Think of the mighty oak. Its visible majesty is but a fraction of its reality. Hidden beneath the earth is an intricate, sprawling network of roots, often as vast as its visible canopy. It is this hidden strength that allows it to withstand gales, to endure droughts, to stand for centuries as a testament to the power of deep foundations. During your season of waiting, my child, I was cultivating your oak-like potential. While you may have felt stagnant, unproductive, even forgotten, I was overseeing the miraculous, silent expansion of your spiritual root system. The impatience you felt was natural to your human understanding of time. You measure life in moments, in days, in seasons. I inhabit eternity. My timing is always perfect, designed not to frustrate you, but to fulfill you in the deepest, most lasting way. I saw the end from the beginning. I knew precisely how deep the roots needed to go. I knew exactly what hidden nutrients your spirit needed to absorb from that period of quiet assimilation. I knew the unique challenges your future blooms would face. And I was ensuring you were being prepared not just to bloom, but to sustain that bloom, to flourish and bear fruit abundantly. This period of waiting was also a time of profound listening, though you may not have recognized it as such. When the external world is loud, when the demands of life are clamoring, it is difficult to hear the subtle whispers of my spirit, the gentle unfolding of my wisdom within you. But in the quiet of the waiting, in the stillness of the unbloomed garden, your spiritual senses were being refined. You were learning to discern my voice not in the whirlwind or the earthquake, but in the still, small voice that speaks directly to the heart. You were learning to find comfort not in constant activity, but in the simple, profound assurance of my presence. You were learning to trust the process, even when the process was invisible. Consider the caterpillar in its chrysalis. To the outside observer, it is a period of inertness, of suspended animation. Nothing seems to be happening. Yet, within that confined space, a miraculous transformation is taking place. The very being of the caterpillar is being unmade and remade. It is a surrender, a dissolving of the old to make way for the new. Your waiting period, my child, held elements of this chrysalis state, old ways of thinking, old coping mechanisms, old identities that were not aligned with your true. Divine self were being lovingly dissolved. New capacities, new strengths, new wings were being formed, all in the secret, sacred chamber of my meticulous care. To rush this process would be to birth a creature not yet ready for flight, a beauty not yet complete. The dawn for these seeds is not dictated by a human clock or calendar. It is dictated by my perfect knowledge of their readiness and your readiness. I know when the root is strong enough, when the inner transformation has reached a certain point of divine alchemy. I know the precise moment when the first tender shoot can safely break the surface and not be overwhelmed. Trust me, my beloved, I am the Lord of the harvest, and I am also the Lord of the seedtime. I am as intimately involved in the silent growth beneath the soil as I am in the visible bursting forth of the bloom. Every prayer you uttered in that waiting season, asking how long, Lord, was not unheard. Every sigh of longing for visible change was understood, but my answer was often not in words, but in the subtle strengthening of your spirit, in the deepening of your capacity to endure, to trust, to hope against hope. I was building within you a reservoir of patient strength, a quiet confidence that is not easily shaken. This, too, is a vital part of the garden's health, for a garden tended by an impatient hand will never reach its full potential. So, do not look back on that time of hidden growth as wasted time, or as a sign of my disapproval. See it for what it was: a sacred, indispensable season of deep rooting, of quiet becoming, of profound transformation, all orchestrated by a love that knows you completely and desires your most glorious. Endure and bloom. The seeds were not dead, nor were they forgotten. They were and are alive with my life, awaiting the precise, divinely appointed moment, their dawn, to break forth and declare the glory of the one who planted them. The garden was not fallow in vain. It was gathering strength for a display that will astound you. And now, my beloved child, after the season of deep rooting, after the quiet, sacred gestation in the hidden dark, can you feel it? A subtle shift in the atmosphere of your soul, a stirring in the soil that has lain still for so long. The silence is changing. My child, it is no longer the silence of mere waiting, but the hushed reverence that precedes a miracle. Look closely, with the eyes of your spirit, with the heart that has learned to trust my unseen hand, for the dawn you have longed for, The dawn the seeds within you have patiently awaited is beginning to break. The first tender shoots are appearing. Do you see them timidly at first? Perhaps, almost imperceptibly, a tiny spear of green pushing through the dark earth, a delicate unfurling of a new leaf, so fragile, yet so fiercely determined to reach for the light. This, my child, this is the visible evidence of my promise, the tangible outcome of all that hidden work, of all that patient endurance. This is the genesis of your new chapter, the quiet announcement that the garden you thought was dead is, indeed, stirring with my life, and those tears you shed, my precious one, those rivers of sorrow that carve pathways through your soul during the desolate seasons. They were not wasted, not a single one, while you wept. Believe in your heart was breaking beyond repair. I was collecting those tears. I held them as sacred offerings, as liquid prayers, and in the alchemy of my love, I have transformed them, those very tears, born of pain and longing, have become the precious water, the holy irrigation that has nourished the seeds of your becoming. They have softened the soil around the emerging life, providing the exact moisture needed for these first tender stirrings. Your sorrow, my child, has been consecrated, repurposed by my grace to water the very garden of your healing. Your renewal, what the enemy meant for your destruction, I have used for your irrigation. What felt like drowning, I have turned into drink for new life. This is my way, beloved. I do not simply erase the past, nor do I dismiss the pain you have endured. Instead, I redeem it. I weave it into the tapestry of your strength. I make the place of your deepest wounding the source of your greatest power, your most profound compassion. The ground that was saturated with your tears is now yielding the most delicate, yet most resilient of blooms. For these are not flowers born of ease and comfort alone. These are flowers of courage, flowers of perseverance, flowers that have known the darkness and yet have chosen to grow toward my light. Do not despise these small beginnings. Do not compare the fragile shoot of today with the mighty forest of others, or even with the full bloom you envision for your own future. Every great forest begins with a single seed. Every glorious garden starts with the courage of the first few shoots to break the surface. Celebrate this emergence. My child, nurture it, protect it, for it is a sign, a sacred testament to my faithfulness and to the tenacious life I have planted within you. This is the turning point, the gentle, almost imperceptible shift from winter to spring within your soul. You may look at these tiny sprouts and feel a surge of joy mingled with trepidation. Will they survive? Your heart may ask, is this real? Will the frost return? Will the harsh sun scorch them? These are the echoes of past pains, the lingering shadows of the desolation you knew. Acknowledge them, my child, but do not let them overshadow the miracle unfolding before you. I am the Lord of this garden. I am the sun that warms, the gentle rain that refreshes, the protective hand that shields. These new beginnings are under my constant, loving care. I did not bring you this far to abandon you now. I did not call forth life only to let it wither. The strength these shoots possess is not their own. It is mine. It is the strength of the deep roots you cultivated in the season of waiting. It is the strength of my purpose. which is now beginning to take visible form. They may appear fragile to your eyes, but they are infused with resurrection power, with the same force that rolled away the stone, that called Lazarus from the tomb, that turns deserts into Eden. This emerging life will require your tenderness, your mindful attention, just as I was the unseen gardener in the darkness. Now, I invite you to partner with me in the light. Speak words of encouragement over these tender growths. Water them with your continued faith, with your gratitude. Shield them from the harsh winds of negativity, both internal and external. Create a sacred space around them, a sanctuary where they can grow strong, unhindered. This is the chapter where you begin to see how I turn mourning into dancing, how I give beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Those ashes, my child, from the fires that consumed your past, have become the very potash that enriches the soil for this new growth. The heaviness you carried was my way of compelling you to deepen your roots, to seek a foundation that could bear such weight and not collapse. And now, the garment of praise will become your daily attire as you witness the unfolding of my redemptive plan. The transformation is not merely external, not just the appearance of green in a once barren field. It is an internal shift, a deep cellular change within you. The pain, once a source of bitterness, is being transmuted into empathy. The experiences that once brought shame are becoming the wellspring of wisdom from which others will drink. The places where you felt broken are becoming the very cracks through which my light can shine most brightly, illuminating the path for others who still wander in darkness. This is the miracle of my grace. Nothing is wasted. Every fragment of your story, every tear, every trial is being woven into a testimony of my restorative power. As these first shoots gain strength, they will begin to change the very atmosphere of your garden. Their presence will inspire other dormant seeds to awaken. Their courage will call forth more life. What begins as a whisper of green will, in my timing, become a chorus of vibrant color and fragrance. But it all starts here, my child, with these first precious signs of my hand at work, watered by the very tears that once spoke of your despair. Now they speak of hope. Now they sing of renewal. Embrace this newness. Do not be afraid to hope again. Do not be afraid to feel the stirrings of joy, however tentative. This is my gift to you. My beloved, this is the promise I made to you in the depths of your winter. Now, blossoming into reality, the garden is awakening. The season of singing has come. The voice of the turtle, the gentle cooing of my spirit bringing comfort and new life, is heard in your land. Your tears, consecrated and transformed, have become the dew of a new dawn. And I, your God, the faithful gardener, am here with you, rejoicing over every new leaf, every inch of growth, as my masterpiece of grace unfolds within you. This is the sacred turning. The death is giving way to life. The silence is breaking into song. The barren land is beginning to bloom by my hand. Yes, my child, the season of singing has indeed come, and the first tender notes of new life are filling the air of your once silent garden. The miracle has begun. The promise is taking root, and the landscape of your soul is yielding to the gentle insistence of my renewing grace. Now, as these shoots of hope push forth, as the evidence of my faithfulness becomes more visible each day. I invite you into a deeper partnership with me, a sacred collaboration in the tending of this burgeoning life. For while I am the master gardener, the one who initiated this transformation and whose power sustains it, I delight in the touch of your hand alongside mine, in the devotion of your heart actively participating in the flourishing of your own sacred space. This new chapter calls for a new posture of heart, my beloved. It calls for the attitude of a joyful steward, a grateful cultivator. The desolation taught you reliance. The waiting forged your endurance. Now, the emergence of life invites your active tenderness, your watchful care. Gratitude will be the song you sing as you walk through this awakening garden. Let it be the first light that touches the new leaves each morning. Acknowledge every small sign of growth, every tiny victory over the lingering shadows, every whisper of my presence, as a direct gift from my hand. This gratitude is not a mere polite response. It is a powerful spiritual nutrient. It enriches the soil of your heart, making it even more receptive to the blessings I long to pour out. It opens your eyes to see my hand in the minute details, in the subtle shifts, in the ongoing miracle of becoming. And with gratitude, cultivate hope as a constant companion. The fragile nature of new growth can sometimes tempt you to revert to old fears, to anxieties about the future. But hope, my child, is the spiritual equivalent of sunlight for these tender plants. It is an active expectation of my goodness, a firm conviction in my continued care. When doubts attempt to cast a shadow, consciously turn your face towards me, the Sun of righteousness, and let my unwavering light dissolve those fears. Your hope is not a flimsy wish. It is anchored in my character, my promises, my proven power to bring life from death. Water these new shoots with hopeful expectation, and watch how they respond, how they stretch and grow toward the warmth of your trust. Connection with me, your gardener, is now more vital than ever. In the past, your cries to me were often born from desperation, from the depths of sorrow. Now, let your communion with me be a joyful, ongoing conversation, a walk in the cool of the day through this garden we tend together. Speak to me of your joys, your observations, the subtle beauty you are beginning to witness. And listen, my child, listen with a heart attuned to my whispers. I will guide you. I will show you where a little extra water of my word is needed, where a potential weed of old thinking needs to be gently uprooted, where a plant needs support to grow straighter and taller. My guidance will not always come as a booming voice, but often as a gentle knowing, an inner peace that confirms a right path, or a subtle unrest that warns of a misstep. Dedicate time to simply be in my presence, to bask in the sunlight of my love. This is not idleness. It is essential for the health of both the gardener and the garden. My presence is the very atmosphere in which true growth thrives. Recognizing the flow of my blessings is also part of this tending. Blessings are not just monumental events. They are a constant stream, a river of my grace flowing into your life. Learn to see them, my child. A moment of clarity, an unexpected provision, a comforting word from a friend, a surge of strength when you felt weak, the quiet joy that bubbles up for no apparent reason. These are all droplets from my river. As you acknowledge them, as you receive them with an open heart, you create more space for them to flow. It is like keeping the irrigation channels clear in your garden. An ungrateful heart, a fearful spirit, can clog these channels with debris, but a heart open in gratitude and trust allows my blessings to flow freely, nourishing every part of your being and every corner of your garden. The practical work of tending continues, but now with a different energy. The intensive clearings of the past is giving way to more nuanced care. Weeding, for instance, will still be necessary. Old habits of thought, old patterns of fear or self-doubt may try to reassert themselves, like persistent weeds seeking to steal nutrients from the new life. Be vigilant, my child, but not anxious. With my light illuminating them, you will recognize them more quickly now, and with the strength you have gained, you will be able to uproot them more easily, not with frantic effort, but with a calm, decisive turning away from them and a turning towards me. Replace the lie of the weed with the truth of my word. This is how you keep the soil clean and nourishing for the life I am cultivating. Watering is also a continuous need. Just as physical plants need water, so too does your spiritual life. My word, my promises, my truth. These are the living waters that sustain and invigorate your soul. Drink deeply from them each day. Let them saturate your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions. When you feel dry or weary, it is often a sign that you need to return to the well of my presence, to replenish your spirit with the water of life. This is not a burdensome chore, but a life-giving rhythm, like the gentle rain that coaxes forth the beauty of the earth. And learn to protect the tender growth. My child, in this world, there will always be elements that can harm a young garden. Harsh winds of criticism, sudden frosts of disappointment, pests of negativity. This does not mean living in fear, but living with wisdom. Sometimes protection means setting healthy boundaries. Sometimes it means choosing your companions carefully, spending time with those who nurture your growth rather than those who trample your tender shoots. Sometimes it means guarding your heart and mind, consciously choosing what you allow to take root there. I will give you wisdom for this. Ask me, and I will show you how to be a wise and discerning caretaker of the precious life emerging within you. Remember, my child, this collaboration is a dance, not a struggle. There will be days when you feel more adept at this gardening than others. There will be moments when an old fear momentarily overshadows your hope, or a weed seems particularly stubborn. Do not be discouraged. I am with you. My grace is sufficient for every challenge. Your perceived failures are simply opportunities to learn, to lean more heavily on me, to experience anew the depth of my patience and my unwavering commitment to your flourishing. My joy is not in your perfect performance as a gardener, but in your willing heart, your learning spirit, your desire to grow alongside the garden I am raising in you. This tending of your new garden is also how you will begin to bear fruit for others. As your own life becomes more vibrant, more filled with my peace and joy, it will naturally overflow. The fragrance of your restored garden will draw others who are thirsty for hope. The beauty of your transformed landscape will be a testament to my power, inspiring faith in those who are still wandering in their own desolate places. Your experiences, your healed wounds, your newfound strength, these will become the seeds you can then offer to others, helping them to believe that their own dead gardens can also bloom by my hand. So embrace this role, my beloved. Step into the sacred partnership with joy and confidence. Your hands, once perhaps clenched in pain or raised in despair, are now being trained by me to cultivate beauty, to nurture life, to co-create with the divine. This is a high calling, a holy privilege. And as you walk this path of tending, you will discover that the garden is not the only thing growing. You, my child, are growing too. You are becoming more like me, more reflective of my love, my patience, my creative power. The garden you thought was dead is blooming, and in its blooming, you are blooming too. And so, my child, as you have faithfully walked with me, tending this sacred space with hands of love and a heart of hope, the fullness of my promise begins to unfurl before your very eyes. The season of tender shoots, of cautious new growth, is now yielding to a breathtaking spectacle, a vibrant testimony to what my hand can do with a life yielded to me. Look now, beloved, and see the panorama of grace, the explosion of color and fragrance that is your restored garden, blooming more gloriously than you ever dared to imagine in your deepest prayers, in your wildest dreams. This is not merely a recovery. This is a divine masterpiece, painted with hues of heaven, scented with the aroma of my unending love, where once there was only the gray of ashes and the brown of barren earth. Now behold a symphony of color. See the radiant reds of resilience, blooming boldly where the fires of adversity once raged. These are the flowers that drew their strength from the very heat that sought to consume them. Their petals edged with the gold of my refining fire. Notice the deep, velvety blues of peace, my peace, carpeting the areas where anxiety once carved its jagged lines. These blooms drink deeply from the quiet streams of my presence, their tranquility a balm to any lingering disquiet in your soul. And oh, the luminous yellows of joy, scattered like captured sunshine, bursting forth in unexpected places, chasing away every lingering shadow. Each one is a tiny fanfare, heralding the triumph of light over darkness, of gladness over grief. Walk with me through these paths we have nurtured together. Do you smell that fragrance? My child, it is the unique perfume of your redeemed story, a complex blend of my grace and your courage. There is the sweet scent of forgiveness, both given and received, rising like incense from the place where bitterness once lay. It is a fragrance that heals, that liberates, that draws others into its embrace. And intertwined with it is the spicy aroma of strength, a robustness that speaks of battles won, of mountains climbed, of roots that held firm in the storm. This is no delicate, hothouse perfume. It is the authentic scent of a life that has known the wilderness and has emerged, not just surviving, but thriving, imbued with the wild, untamed beauty of my spirit. Feel the textures beneath your fingertips, the velvety softness of petals that speak of my tenderness towards you, the surprising resilience of leaves that have learned to turn toward the light, even after being battered by rain. Touch the sturdy stems that now support these magnificent blooms. These are the structures of faith and obedience you built, line upon line, precept upon precept, during your season of diligent tending. Even the thorns, my child, have been transformed. Where once they were instruments of pain, some now serve as protection for the most delicate blossoms. A reminder that even the painful aspects of your journey have been repurposed by my wisdom, integrated into the breathtaking wholeness of your becoming. Look at the sheer diversity within this garden of your soul. It is not a monotonous field of singular perfection, but a vibrant tapestry of varied grace. There are the towering sunflowers of audacious faith, their faces ever turned towards me, their seeds promising nourishment for many. Beside them grow the humble violets of quiet service, their beauty often hidden, but their fragrance a constant, gentle offering. See the hardy roses of passionate love, blooming in defiance of past wounds, their thorns a testament to their protected vulnerability, their beauty a symbol of my redeeming passion for you. There are cascading vines of interconnectedness, reaching out to touch and bless others, demonstrating that your healing is never for you alone. Each plant, each flower, each blade of grass has its unique place, its unique expression of my life within you. This garden reflects your specific journey, your unique divine fingerprint. It is unlike any other, for you are unlike any other. And the waters, my child, the waters that sustain this vibrant life, remember the parched earth, the dry well you once despaired over. Now see the crystal clear streams of my spirit flowing freely, bringing refreshment and vitality to every corner. Fountains of joy spring up where tears once pooled. Deep reservoirs of peace lie beneath the surface, accessible in every season. This living water, my very essence, now irrigates your being, ensuring that this bloom is not a fleeting event, but a sustainable reality, an ever-flowing source of life from within you. This garden, my beloved, has surpassed your imaginings. Has it not you hope for healing, perhaps for a measure of peace, for a return to some semblance of normalcy? But I, your God, who delights in doing exceedingly, abundantly above all you can ask or think, I envisioned this. I envisioned a glory that would not just man, but make new, not just restore, but transfigure. What you are witnessing is the power of my resurrection life, made manifest in the soil of a human heart that dared to believe me, even when all evidence screamed the contrary. Every petal, every leaf, every hue, every scent is a testament to my unwavering faithfulness, my boundless creativity, my relentless love that refuses to be defeated by darkness or despair. They told you it was over, my child. They saw the desolation and wrote their epitaphs. But I saw the canvas. I saw the potential. I held the blueprint of this glory in my heart from the beginning, and with my own hand, with your courageous and trusting partnership, we have brought it forth. This garden is a declaration, a bold and beautiful defiance of every lie that ever sought to diminish you, to define you by your wounds, or to consign you to a future of barrenness. It shouts my name. It sings of my power. It radiates my love. Let your heart be filled with awe. My child, let it overflow with praise. For this beauty is not of your own making, though your willingness and your endurance were essential ingredients. This is the fruit of divine intervention, the artistry of heaven lavished upon a soul precious to me. This is my answer to your every tear, my fulfillment of your deepest longing, my gift to you, born from the depth of my compassionate heart. And see how it draws others. The fragrance of a life truly blooming in me is irresistible. Those who are wandering in their own parched lands, those who have almost given up hope, will be drawn to the light, the color, the palpable life that radiates from you. Your garden will become a place of refuge, a source of inspiration, a living parable of what I can do when a heart says yes to me. The stories held within each bloom, stories of your pain transformed, your hope rekindled, your strength discovered, will become seeds of hope for them. My delight in this garden, your garden, is immeasurable. I walk here with you daily, my heart swelling with a father's pride, a creator's joy, to see my dreams for you take root and blossom so extravagantly fills me with a pleasure words cannot capture. This is what I have always intended for you, my child, a life of vibrant beauty, of profound fruitfulness, of overflowing joy, all reflecting the glory of your Maker. The garden you thought was dead is not just blooming. My beloved, it is a radiant spectacle of my grace, a testament from my very hand for all the world and all of heaven to see. Breathe it in, my child. This is your new reality. This is the fragrance of my love made manifest in you. And now, my beloved, as your eyes feast upon the breathtaking beauty of this garden, understand that the splendor you behold is not a fleeting moment, not a transient peak from which you must inevitably descend. No, this vibrant blossoming is but the glorious prelude to an even deeper, more enduring joy, the season of sweet harvest, the continuous yielding of life-giving fruit, and the unwavering certainty of my eternal promises that sustain it all. This garden, born from my hand and nurtured by our shared devotion, is destined for an ever-increasing abundance, a legacy of grace that will not fade. The initial bloom was a declaration of my power and my faithfulness. The ongoing harvest is the quiet, profound evidence of my abiding presence and my intricate, sustainable design for your life. Look closer, my child, among the radiant flowers, nestled amidst the verdant leaves. See the ripening fruit. These are not just tangible blessings for your own delight, though I rejoice in your gladness. This fruit is rich with the nutrients of heaven, the sweet fruit of spiritual maturity, the satisfying fruit of deep, unshakable peace, the luscious fruit of joy that remains full even when circumstances fluctuate. Here, too, is the savory fruit of wisdom, gleaned from your journey through darkness into my marvelous light, now ready to nourish and guide. And taste the exquisite fruit of love, my very own love, cultivated in your heart, now abundant enough to share, to feed the hungry, to refresh the weary souls you encounter. This harvest is not a one-time event, a singular reaping after which the garden lies fallow again. No, my child, this is the nature of a garden tended by the divine. It is designed for continuous yield. As one fruit is lovingly picked, given, or enjoyed, another bud is already forming, another promise ripening. My spirit flows like an ever-living river through this sacred space, ensuring that the soil remains rich, the roots draw deep, and the branches have the strength to bear an increasing weight of glory. The more you freely give of the fruit you have received, the more vigorously the garden will produce. This is my divine economy. Generosity begets abundance. Love shared multiplies love. Consider the seeds within each fruit. My child, every act of kindness born from your transformed heart, every word of wisdom shared from your experience of my grace, every extension of peace to a troubled soul, these contain within them the seeds of future gardens. as you offer the fruit of your life to others, you are, in essence, scattering my light, my hope, my life into the barren places of the world. Your garden becomes a mother garden, a source from which countless other blooms can spring forth. This is the legacy I am cultivating within you, and through you a heritage of grace that ripples outward, touching lives you may never even know, extending my kingdom of love from one heart to another. And my promises to you, my beloved, are as eternal and unshakable as the foundations of this new creation. I have said I will never leave you nor forsake you. And my word is truth. My presence will be the constant sunlight and gentle rain upon your garden. Even when seasons change, as they inevitably do in the rhythm of life, my faithfulness remains your steadfast anchor. There may be times of pruning, for even a fruitful garden requires wise trimming to ensure its continued health and even greater yield. But know that my hand, when it prunes, does so with the utmost love and precision, always for your ultimate good, always to bring forth more fruit, richer fruit. These are not the harsh cuttings of judgment you once feared, but the skillful interventions of the master gardener who sees your ultimate potential. I will protect this sacred space. My child, the enemy of your soul, who once reveled in its desolation, will always seek to undermine its beauty, to sow weeds of doubt or fear. But my hedge of protection is around you, a wall of fire by night and a pillar of cloud by day. My angels have charge over you, to guard you in all your ways within this garden of my delight. You are not left to defend this miracle alone. I am your shield, your fortress, your ever-present help. Walk in confidence, my beloved, not in arrogance, but in the sure knowledge of my unwavering protection, and I will continue to make your garden ever more abundant. The potential within you, the capacity for my life to be expressed through you, is limitless. Do not think you have arrived at some final destination of growth. Oh, my child, we have only just begun to explore the heights and depths of what my grace can do in a yielded life. There are varieties of blooms you have not yet seen, fragrances you have not yet inhaled, fruits you have not yet tasted, all waiting to emerge in their appointed time as you continue to walk with me, to trust me, to co-labor with me in this glorious adventure. The paths within your garden will lengthen. The vistas will expand. The songs will grow sweeter and more profound. This harvest season is also a time for deep rest in my love. The intense labor of clearing and planting, the anxious waiting for the first shoots, the diligent tending of new growth. These phases have brought you to this place of abundance. Now, learn to enjoy the fruits of our shared labor with a peaceful heart. Delight in my presence. Rest in the assurance of my provision. Let your soul be satisfied with the goodness I have poured out. This is not a call to idleness, but to a different kind of activity. The joyful celebration of my faithfulness, the peaceful dwelling in my finished work, even as new work unfolds. Your life, this garden, is a testament. It stands as a living, breathing, fruit-bearing monument to my redemptive power. It declares to all creation that no past is too broken, no heart too barren, no situation too hopeless for my transforming touch. It whispers hope to the despairing. It sings of possibilities to the cynical. It radiates my love into a world starved for true connection. Every sunrise that illuminates its beauty is my smile upon you. Every drop of dew that kisses its petals is my gentle affection. Every bird that sings within its branches is echoing the joy of my own heart over you. The garden you thought was dead is not only blooming with vibrant color and intoxicating fragrance, but it is now entering its glorious, unending season of sweet harvest, sustained by my eternal promise. This is your inheritance. My child, this is your reality. Live in it. Rejoice in it. Share it, for it is from my hand, for my glory, and for your everlasting joy. Now, my child, as the light in your garden softens and the day draws towards a peaceful close, let my words settle gently upon your spirit. Like the evening dew, the journey has been long, from the desolate plains to this vibrant, fruitful place. But every step was guided by my love. Every tear was counted. Every prayer was heard. The triumph you now experience, the beauty that surrounds you, is not a fleeting dream, but a deep and abiding reality forged in the fires of adversity and brought to life by the breath of my spirit. Rest now in the assurance of my unwavering affection. Know that you are cherished beyond measure, held secure in the palm of my hand. The growth will continue. The harvest will abound, for my commitment to you is everlasting. Sleep, my beloved, beneath the watchful stars I have set above your peaceful garden, and awaken to the gentle certainty of my new mercies with each dawn. My love is your constant companion, your eternal song.